So my mother-in-law, she's up my neck. She says that she wants part of my inheritance because we're family and I owe it to her. Well, guess what? I tell her I have plans for my inheritance that's going to help out the community. I'm not giving it to you so you can just go frivolously spend it on whatever it is mother-in-law spends her stuff on. Or should I say monster-in-law? Hey, I'm 31 female, and recently came into a substantial inheritance from my paternal grandfather, who passed away a few months ago. Let's just say it's in the 7 figures. The story involves my husband, our 2 kids, and my monster-in-law, who I will refer to as a monster-in-law. I had an incredibly close relationship with my grandfather, and he made it clear in his will that his inheritance was specifically meant for me and me alone. My husband and I have always kept our finances somewhat separate and agreed that any inheritance would not be shared. My mother-in-law has never been my biggest fan. She always had something to say about my job, I'm a teacher, how I'm raising our children, and even the clothes that I wear. I've always tried to ignore her criticism and just keep the peace. However, things have taken a turn since I received my inheritance. Suddenly, mother-in-law has been making constant remarks about how I should share my inheritance with her son, my husband, and by extension her. She argues that as we are family, we should share everything, and that includes the inheritance. Despite having the agreements with my husband, I did offer to use a portion of the inheritance to pay off our mortgage and set up college funds for our kids. Well, I thought this was a reasonable compromise that would benefit the whole family, but my mother-in-law just insists this is not enough and has been pressuring my husband to demand a larger share. My husband, bless him, has remained neutral. He's tried to mediate, but it's clear that he's uncomfortable. It's put a strain on our relationship and it's causing constant arguments. I feel like mother-in-law is being completely unreasonable and trying to control something that is none of her business. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to share any more of my inheritance? Let me know in the comment section down below and I will update soon. What's up, guys? I'm bringing at you a mother-in-law drama today that is unlike the others. This one is insane. The updates are not very long, but boy do they pack a punch. If you guys are new to the channel, what's up? My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories every single day, so consider subscribing for daily stories. And let's jump into update number 1. Firstly, thank you for the feedback and support since my last post. Things have definitely escalated. My mother-in-law, who up until now only made comments and suggestions, has gone full-on manipulative. She starts crying to my husband, telling him how I was tearing the family apart by hoarding the money. She also began spreading rumors among our relatives that I was withholding my husband's rightful share. I had a heart-to-heart talk with my husband about how mother-in-law's actions were impacting our relationship, and I reminded him of our agreement regarding inheritances, and he agreed to back me up. We decided to sit down with mother-in-law and set a few boundaries. The meeting did not go well. Mother-in-law refused to listen, accusing me of trying to break up the family, and she even threatened to take legal action against me, claiming she could force me to share my inheritance if she wanted. I'm not a lawyer, but as far as I know, she does not have any legal standing. We're considering going low contact or no contact with her if she continues this behavior. Meanwhile, I've sought out legal counsel to confirm that she has no claim. Am I the a-hole for potentially cutting her off and ruining our relationship with her? Honestly, I don't care. Update number 2. Oh boy, so, wow, a lot has happened since my last post. Your advice and support have been instrumental in managing this insanity. My lawyer confirmed what many of you said in the comment section below. Mother-in-law has no legal standing to claim any part of my inheritance. Despite this, Mother-in-law tried to follow through with her threat and actually hired a lawyer. However, she was promptly informed that her case held in no merit. Since her legal threat fell through, mother-in-law has taken a more aggressive approach. She tried to turn our children against me by telling them I was keeping their father's money from him. This has been the last straw for both my husband and me. We've always tried to keep the kids out of our issues with mother-in-law. We decided to go no contact with her until she stops her destructive behavior. This has been hard for my husband, but he agrees. It's the best thing for our family. The stress of this has taken a toll on us. My husband and I are attending couples therapy just to work through the tension this situation has caused. We're also planning on setting up sessions for our kids with a child psychologist, just to ensure that they're okay. As for the inheritance, I've decided to set up a trust fund for my children and secure their future. We've also paid off our mortgage, and I'm starting a scholarship fund at my school with part of the money. So, to wrap it up, am I the a-hole for going no contact with my mother-in-law and using my inheritance as I see fit? You guys have been amazing with all the help. Please, let me know what you would do. Update number 3. Well, oh boy, thank you to this community for your overwhelming support and advice. I can always count on you. Your words have made this chaotic situation a bit more, bearable. Since going no contact with mother-in-law, there's been a notable improvement in our lives. The kids are adjusting well, and therapy is helping them understand the situation in a child-friendly way. My husband has also come a long way. He's finally stood up to his mother and made it clear that we will not tolerate her toxic behavior anymore. He's fully supportive of how I've chosen to use the inheritance, and we're stronger than ever as a couple. However, mother-in-law has not taken our no contact well. She's been trying to get other family members to mediate. She's still adamant that she's in the right, showing no signs of acknowledging her destructive behavior. After some reflection, I've decided to use a part of my inheritance. Well, to start a local education program for underprivileged children. This was something my grandfather and I talked about pretty often. I think he'd be happy to know his money's being used to make a positive impact on the world. The conclusion that I've realized: I'm not the a-hole for wanting to use my inheritance as I see fit. And protects my family from toxic behavior. It's been a bumpy ride, but we're finding a way. Well, that'll probably be my final update. I want to thank everybody, all the support and comments that you've done. Well, turns out that's not my final update, because now I present to you my final update. Well, hey guys, sit back, take a buckle up, and because, well, this is going to be quite a twist. Since my last update, which I thought was my last, a surprising turn of events has led me to a secret my grandfather had kept for years. I've begun the process of using part of my inheritance to start a local education program for underprivileged children, which led me to sort things through of some of grandfather's old paperwork. While going through his files, I found a bundle of letters, dating back absolutely decades, hidden in an old dusty box. The letters were from a woman pouring out her love to my grandfather, and my blood ran cold as I realized the signature on each letter belonged to my mother-in-law, or should I say monster-in-law. After the shock wore off, I decided to confront my mother-in-law about the letters. It was a difficult decision to break the no-contact rule, but I felt I needed to know the truth, you know. The confrontation was surprising, to say the least. Mother-in-law admitted that she'd been in love with my grandfather in her youth, and they'd known each other when they were young, but life took them in a different direction, and they simply lost contact. Many years later, they reconnected as friends, but she never got over her feelings for him. According to my monster-in-law, my grandfather never reciprocated her feelings. He viewed her as strictly a friend, nothing more. And when she finally confessed her feelings to him, he was kind but clear that he did not feel the same. This revelation explains so much about her resentment towards me and her obsession with the inheritance. Part of me feels empathy for her, unrequited love, but the other part's still angry at her for her past actions and manipulation. Well, to add another layer to this saga, my husband was just as shocked as I was by the revelation. He had no idea about his mother's feelings for my grandfather. It has shaken him quite a bit. But he's been dealing with it in therapy, and despite the revelations, the situation remains the same regarding the inheritance. My husband and I agreed that it changes nothing. We are, however, reevaluating the no-contact rule with mother-in-law. We're not so sure yet if we want to completely cut ties or if we might slowly attempt to mend the bridge with boundaries firmly in place. This has been a lot to process, I know, and we're still picking up the pieces. It's definitely been what they call a wild ride, but we're trying to navigate it with understanding and patience, so I ask you again. Am I the a-hole for wanting to protect my family and use my inheritance as I see fit? Despite the revelations about my mother-in-law's past relationship with my grandfather, your support and advice had been instrumental in all this. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me through these updates. It's been a journey, to say the absolute least. But I think that this is going to be the final update, so once again, thank you all. Alright guys, so this story, I managed to find the two top comments. They're actually both different perspectives. So let's check out number one that says, not the a-hole. It's your inheritance, and your grandfather made it clear that it was meant for you and you alone. Your mother-in-law has no right to demand a share to it, especially considering her history of criticizing and meddling in your life. You offered a reasonable compromise by using a portion of the inheritance to pay off the mortgage and set up college funds for your children, but your mother-in-law is being unreasonable and trying to control something that is none of her business. It's important to stand your ground and protect your family's financial future. Okay, there was a lot of replies to that comment, a lot of people agreeing, but there were equally as many comments from this perspective, comment number 2. While it's understandable that you want to use your inheritance as you see fit, it's also understandable that your mother-in-law feels your husband should be entitled to a share of it since, I don't know, you're married, you're a family. Family dynamics can be complicated, and money often brings out different opinions and emotions. It's good that your husband has remained neutral and tried to mediate, but it's unfortunate that it's caused strain in your relationship. It might be worth having an open and honest conversation with your mother-in-law, just to explain your grandfather's wishes and your perspective, in hopes of finding a resolution that maintains family harmony. So, there's two perspectives. I want to know how you guys feel. So drop your comments down below. Let me know. Are you on comment number 1 side? Or are you on comment number 2? Guys, smash that subscribe button. I will see you in the next video. Have a fantastic day.